Shalom, family. Good to see everyone here. Hope you're doing well. Look, this is a reminder. This is the final day of the sale. It will end at 11:59 p.m. So grab up your hair products and get it for 45% off for Etsy, Shopify, and TikTok Shop. So, y'all, we're going to talk about Nolan Xavier Wells. Now, what happened to him is something that has been happening to our people for a long time. I went and reviewed his pictures, and, look, we can't be hanging out with people and they have hateful undertones about us. So, in other words, yeah, they may smile and laugh with you, but at the end of the day, the story always plays out the same. Now, when I went back and reviewed pictures and videos of him, he was always surrounded by a lot of white folks. That's one of the things I noticed. And it just seems like people just don't want to teach their children that no, you definitely don't want to be no only black person. And let me tell you, this story plays out the same all the time. That's why I believe many of their parents, adults, are also involved in such things. Now, I have since found out one child that was involved, white teen, mother is a judge. And another one of those teens, parent, is law enforcement. You think they didn't tell them what they need to do? It's always the same. They find a way to isolate you where it's a bunch of white people and one black girl or boy, and it's always the same. They take you in the woods, they'll take you on a boat somewhere, anywhere where you're isolated, and that's when they will turn on you. This is taught behavior, y'all, because we keep seeing it over and over and over. It's taught. I don't care what anybody say. Adults are involved in this. Now, it was also saying that all of those boys after Nolan went missing, they were partying. Y'all, they went to a party. That's what they did. And they all lawyered up. The parents and the teenagers, the white teenagers, lawyered up. Now, why do you need a lawyer? Are you afraid of being accused of something that you actually did? But at the end of the day, and I said this even several years back, that we got to teach our children you don't go anywhere and you're some only black person. You never, ever, ever do that. Our children are not safe in the presence of these people. And it may seem innocent, but at the end of the day, it's not. And I heard he was talking um when they got separated. Apparently it was some white girl there, and he was talking to her. So who knows? I mean, they said the stories that these four white teens were given makes no sense. It doesn't add up. But their minds are, you got to understand, a teenager, their minds are underdeveloped at that point. They have not fully matured. So yeah, they'll tell a story, and in their minds it sounds credible, but actually it's not. Now, his body was found, and it has since been identified. But at the end of the day, don't let your kids go off with a group of all white people, because we've seen this play out way too many times. They'll get to go home, and your child, they won't. Now, I know this got to be painful for his family. My heart goes out to them, my prayers for him and his family, Nolan and his family. I mean, it's a tragedy, but this has been going on forever. It's been going on forever. And our people got to get to a point where our kids know better. If it's a circumstance, it doesn't matter if it seems innocent. It doesn't matter. I always got to reflect back to Muhammad Ali when he talks about that pit of snakes. you know, we don't have time to be trying to figure out who's good and who's not. I'm unconcerned about that. At the end of the day, I want y'all all to reflect back in your life. Many of us have experienced being around white people, and the energy around them seems strange, or something's off about their energy. Or when they're in your presence, you can literally feel their hostility or their dislike for our people. You know what I mean? We have experienced that before. And no matter how much it may be difficult, we got to teach our children the truth about the history of these. This is why these folks want their history erased and forgotten. But we must never forget, because forgetting, you can end up like Nolan. We can't be naive in life. These folks, they will always do the same pattern: get you alone somewhere, turn on you, and then next thing you know, you're gone. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Y'all remember, what was her name? Tamla, the one that went to that sleepover, and somehow she went over the balcony, and she's lying there unalive in somebody's backyard. And they have ruled that as an accident. That was not no accident, y'all. It was not an accident. And those were all full grown adults. That's why I'm saying it is just not safe. These folks, they are not safe. They're not safe. And our children must know this history of so many of our people have been unalive being around them. I remember when I first came on, maybe like a year or so, some teen went out on a boat with them. Everybody came back except for this one teen. And, of course, it was a black teen, male. And the kids all told a different story about what happened to them. And you know what the police did? Nothing. They all went home, and nobody was charged. Just like Tamla, her situation, she was around all them white people at a sleepover. She's the only one that ends up unalive, and not one living soul got arrested. That's another reason y'all don't do this. Please. It may save your life if you don't get caught up around these people. And in all instances, our people are literally tricked when they go on these away trips in some woods um, or some location out in a river or some lake or something. They're always tricked. And that tells you these people don't like us. They don't like us. Those boys that took him out, they didn't like him. They didn't. They didn't like him. And our people got to learn how to pick up on that. They don't, sometimes they don't put it all out there for you to see. But one thing about them, they can't hide their microaggressions. So you'll see it in other ways. And, oh, I'm just playing. No, they're not playing. They don't like you. Mm-mm. They're not playing. They don't like you. And we can't ignore this stuff. Our children can't ignore these things. Mm-mm. So let's get into it so you can hear what people are saying. This is definitely tragic. Let's see, all right, I have an update because they found his body. And this is getting on a boat with these folks that mean you no good. Let's see if I can play this video. All right, so this is from ABC News. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Thank you.
This morning, the desperate search for answers in Mississippi after the death of 18-year-old Nolan Wells, authorities recovering a body believed to be the teen. Investigators and volunteers from the Cajun Navy spent the weekend urgently searching for Wells after he vanished from Horn Island on July 4th.
Nolan Wells was on a boat. He left from a private dock area in the Ocean Springs area and proceeded with his friends to Horn Island.
Wells was visiting the barrier island 10 miles from the Gulf Coast, boating with friends, last seen about 3 p.m. Saturday.
They left and went back without Nolan. From what we understand, he chose to stay there.
Later that night, when he didn't return home, his mother reporting him missing to police, then quickly taking to social media, posting pictures of the teen, pleading for help finding him. The heartbreaking discovery made about 8:45 Monday morning when authorities say the Mississippi Community College wide receiver's suspected body was found in the water just off the shore. His mother writing, "His father, our family, friends, and I are absolutely devastated," describing Wells as a sweet son who was always willing to cheer and uplift others. Now, investigators say they suspect he drowned, but they're still interviewing friends who were with him as they work to pinpoint what exactly happened.
That's why we're still asking for information if anybody has any knowledge.
And that information, the sheriff says, will help them paint a better picture of what happened to Nolan in the moments before his death. A toxicology report from the coroner's office is still pending. Guys?
Yeah, sad situation.
We are definitely thinking of Nolan's family and just hoping that they'll get the answers that they desperately are searching for. Alex, thank you for being on this for us.
Y'all, they left him. They left him. How do you take somebody to a remote island and then you leave without them? Why would any friend leave without you? And they wanted to stay. That don't even sound right. Why would you go to a remote island with other people and only one person gets left behind and you claim they wanted to stay? That don't even sound right. He got left. They took him out and they got on that boat and left. No, I don't believe their story. I know they're lying. Why on earth would he want to go far out to a remote island and just be left there. That doesn't even make any damn sense. And then on top of that, they went to a party. Now, what kind of friend would leave you on some remote island and then they go out partying? They said them teens went to a party and they never opened their mouth about Nolan. They didn't say nothing. They were just partying. And we know how these folks are. They'll do this shit because they're jealous of you. They'll do it because they're just jealous. They're, maybe they were jealous because he was very athletic or got better grades than any of them. Because they're not all that smart. I know they always try to, well, we're so smarter than black people. No, you're not. No, you're not. Nor have you ever been. But these things happen all the time, y'all. It happened. I remember there were some stories when I was growing up as a child, similar. Oh, they went out with these white people and then you never see them again. Y'all we got to teach reality to our children. We can't live in some fake reality where, oh, we all just get along and we all like each other. No, that's not reality. It's not reality. And it's very unrealistic for you to think, as a parent, your child is going to be safe. Your black teen is going to be safe with a bunch of white people, and there's nobody else that look like them there. That is not safe. That's not safe. All right. But yeah, the fact that all the parents and their children, those white teens, all lawyered up. Why lawyer up? Why aren't you doing anything to help Nolan and his family? They said the only thing they did was give his family his cell phone. Okay, why didn't Nolan have his cell phone on him? Why didn't he have his cell phone on him? Did you take the cell phone because you didn't want the possibility of him maybe alive and he would not be able to call anybody? Is that why you took it? Why would four white teens have this black teenager's phone? Not unless you did something to him, but you wanted to ensure that he would never be able to call anybody for help. Is that why you had the phone? Man, I don't trust these people as far as I can throw them. All right, let me go ahead and share my screen again so you can hear some of the TikTok responses to Nolan and what happened to him. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Remember, these are the offspring of the people that used to smile under a tree while a black man was hanging in it. This is their offspring. You ain't changed that damn much. Thank you for the ones.
This is the exact reason I tell my kids, friend or no friend, you can't trust anybody. How is it possible for a group of friends to go to Mississippi's Horn Island, but when they come back home, they come back without somebody that they went with? And they're going to say race ain't play a part. You see everybody in this picture right here. Tell me what looks different. Tell me. You had an 18-year-old accomplished football star, Nolan Wells, goes to Mississippi Horns Island with his friends on the 4th of July, and then he turns up missing. Mind you, all of his friends make it home safe. And the person that went with them, Nolan Xavier Wells, he's missing. And nobody has nothing to say about that. You have his so-called friends saying that they don't remember anything. They don't remember seeing what happened to him. Mind you, they have pictures on the boat. Mind you, they have pictures together, but nobody knows what happened to him. Now you got the Coast Guard, sheriff deputies, Marine units, and multiple agencies searching for him right now. They're searching the waters, searching surrounding areas, trying to figure out what happened. They're also saying that the last time he was seen with a team. They're also saying that they found his phone, but they didn't find him. What team do you know right now would leave his phone behind? Tell me that. But you see how all of this sounds? This is why disappearances like this and places like this always leave people questioning. If you spend time looking into missing person cases like this, then you already know what may be the outcome. Do you understand how this young man's parents have to feel? They just want their kid back. We definitely need to spread the word about this. We need some answers. This shit is crazy.
You would think that after Nolan Wells was pronounced unalive and his body was found, his friends would be putting out posts saying, rest in peace, oh my God, something. But no, everybody is dead silent. Every last person that was there has deleted their Instagram, their Facebook, their social media. Everybody's gone quiet, including the parents. Okay, y'all, including the parents, including a judge. Okay, attached to one of those kids.
This is exactly why I'm telling you, in these instances where you see children and teenagers participating in living us, these parents, I'm telling you, racism starts in the home. They are learning this from their parents, y'all. We have seen it too many times. Not only too many times, it plays out the same way. They isolate you, they unalive you. They go back home and nobody knows what happens. We see it again. Another pattern, another teen will hook up with them or go to some party with them, and all of a sudden they disappear. These white teens and children go home. Nobody knows what happened. It plays out the same way every damn single time. It never changes. Man, we got to do better with our children. We got to do better with our children, for real. This should have never, ever happened. And I'm wondering, how well did his parents know these teens? And she's right. They did scrub their social media. They got rid of their social media. All 4 teens that were on that boat with them, all 4 white teens and their white parents, erased their social media. But you're trying to tell us there was no foul play? Sure, there was.
Everybody's going media silent. It only raises questions about this video that was being circulated on the internet with Nolan on the beach with those friends, and there's an argument that breaks out. Okay, Nolan is standing to the side, and there's a group of other kids looking at him. What was that argument about? Katie also spoke with someone saying that she did not get on the boat with Nolan. She got on a boat with someone else because her friends and family told her to get her ass on. Nolan was supposed to get on a boat with his friends. It never happened. She doesn't know what happened. I'm going to say this as honest as possible. But if you're the only Black person in the friend group, there is a problem, because 9 times out of 10, you're going to be the victim. That's just it. Now, next up is the autopsy. And I hope they don't use anybody near that fucking place. Use somebody else and make sure they Black.
I beg your finest fucking pardon, but I know if my friend went missing, I wouldn't be out partying a few hours later. Hell, if it was just somebody that I remotely cared about and didn't wish harm upon, I'd be trying to find them. And I sure as hell know that I wouldn't leave an actual island without them. And I know that I wouldn't be like deleting all my social media and having like my parents even delete their social media. I know I would be openly working with anybody and everybody and speaking out very publicly to find information to find out why they are unalive. But no, that's not what happened to Nolan Xavier Wells, because those individuals were not his friends. They were not even his acquaintances. They clearly did not care about him at all or his well-being. Because if they did, this is not the storyline that we would be hearing. This is not the timeline of actions that we would be seeing. The fact that one of those kids lawyered up as soon as news broke about Nolan Xavier Wells' disappearance, we all knew how this was going to end up after that moment. This happens so much in our society that I fear that people just expect it now because they do, because it's all too fucking common. But we all know, had that picture had been 3 black teenage boys with 1 white teenage boy, this would be all over mainstream media and the president would be fucking talking
Yeah, I mean, she is right. You know, if it was the other way around, none of those teens would have went home. If there was a missing white teen and they were on a boat with 4 black teens, oh, they wouldn't have went home. We know that. They would never have gone home. But these guys, they got to go home to their family. And I really believe this is some sick ritual because it seems like every year something like this always happens. And again, I really truly believe these adults are telling these teens to do these things. I really do. The same way they teach them racism, they're also teaching them to unalive us, get us alone, some remotely, in the middle of an ocean or something. And this mess is being taught. They ain't pulling this out of their ass. It's being taught.
about it right now. We all fucking know that. Rest in peace, Nolan Xavier Wells, and I truly hope that your family finds peace and you receive justice, because this is so fucking wrong and we need to keep his name alive. This has to stop in our country.
Me, Ashley Cole, who's a judge in Mississippi, who's also been identified as the stepmother of Warren Hudson. You know, one of the little boys that was on that boat when Nolan didn't come back. And now his family has to grieve and seek justice because of something that happened that they refused to cooperate with the family about. Let me give you a little insight on why Judge Cole is exhibit 1 as to why this family needs their independent investigation. You see, it's attached to people who are judges, who are lawyers, firemen. We're talking about connections to cover shit up. Let's talk about her. One of the most important reasons why Nolan Wells' family is going to need an independent investigation is because of this lady. You may remember her because there was a case in Mississippi that involved exchanging children, and the mother was unalived by the child's father because Cole refused to allow her to exchange at a police station where it was safer. Instead, she was shot and unalived by said father during a drop-off. Y'all remember Aubrey Wyatt? This judge ordered her mother that she could not post anything online about her daughter's way out. because it would bring too much attention. So when we're talking about an independent fucking investigation, she is red flag number one. Yeah. If you think they are not covering shit up as we speak, she is exhibit number fucking danger one. It just so happened her stepson was present during the last moments of Nolan's life, and they are refusing to cooperate and give the family answers. I have attached the family's GoFundMe because they're going to need the independent investigation, because I'll be damned if they play in the Wells face in broad fucking daylight.
Now, after seeing the pictures and the videos of him arguing with his friends, come on now, man. Come on now. Case closed, right? Case closed. They had his cell phone and they gave it to his mother. Are we serious? I don't know why I feel like this is like going to be the same thing as like Carmelo Anthony. Like justice is not going to be served, even though the evidence is like right here in our fucking faces. And mind you, I'm so sick of the racial tension in America. Like it's so exhausting at this point. Like I just want justice to be served, bro. Like this type of shit keeps happening over and over and over. And even when we have the evidence like directly in our face, one group or one type of person always seems to get the shit end of the stick. And I really am exhausted. I'm tired of the racial tension, right? Everybody has black fatigue and, you know, just every angle of it, every single angle of the racial BS in America right now. I'm exhausted. And this is just like the icing on the cake, bro. I'm just hoping and praying that his family gets the justice that they deserve. And the people who did this to him, like, they need to be put under the jail. Okay. Like, this shit is very unfortunate, but it's the racial tension behind it. Everything about it is just exhausting. It's just exhausting, bro. I really feel bad for this dude's family. Seriously. And his friends too. Cause I'm pretty sure everybody expected him to come home after this weekend, bro.
Nolan Wells went missing at 3 p.m., but his so-called friends were still partying at 7 p.m. If y'all did nothing wrong, why are y'all lawyered up? If y'all did nothing wrong, how does one of you have a judge for a mother and she deactivated her Facebook account? And another one of you have a parent that's in law enforcement. I'm starting to feel like y'all did something to that boy because y'all have parents who can get you out of it. Right? Right. And the fact of the matter is that nothing about this sounds correct. It's not, the story's not making sense to me, because how do you go out there with him and then you come back without him? No real friend leaves their friends behind. Okay, because if my friend starts getting missing at a certain hour, I'm not going to relax till we find my friend. Right. Right. And see, I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best to say this as cool and calmly as I can, y'all, because I'm mad. That baby was only 18 years old. That baby was only 18 years old. And I'm noticing a pattern that when one of ours goes missing and turns up dead, y'all always seem to have a picture right before it happens. But then again, hunters love taking pictures with they kill. May anybody involved in Nolan Wells' demise, may you go straight to hell and never know a day's worth of peace.
Secret Service Sam here, and this Nolan Xavier Wells case is just not sitting well with anybody, especially people in the Black community are not trusting what happened. They're not believing that this was some type of accident. He was allegedly going to see a girl, and so I guess a guy named Warren, one of the friends, left him behind. He went on another boat. There is video circulating online that almost shows that there was some type of potential altercation or fight that took place. Then it turns out one of the kids who made it back safely, their parent is a judge, and all the kids are lawyered up. Why would you be so lawyered up so quickly if there was nothing that you did wrong? Now, this is reminding a lot of people of Tamla Horsford who died on November 4th, 2018 in Cummings, Georgia. She's a Black mother of 5. She attended an adult sleepover with mostly white female friends. The next morning, she was found dead in the backyard. Official investigations by the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office and the Georgia Bureau of Investigation concluded her death was accidental as a fall from a backyard deck. How do you just fall from a backyard deck? Authorities cited severe intoxication, with her autopsy revealing a blood alcohol level of 0.238. Anyway, her family and community advocates heavily disputed the official findings, citing timeline discrepancies, the presence of unexplained injuries, and concerns over how the crime scene was handled. Now, this happened in Mississippi. That case happened in Forsyth County, which has a lot of racist history. We need this to be transparent. This continues to happen in the Black community, where what are the chances that every time it's a group of all white people and like one Black friend, why it's like a horror movie where the Black person has to die first. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. People are not going to let this sit at all. And when you have Cyrus Carmack Belton, then you have Carmelo Anthony, then you have to understand how painful this is to the community, that continually they're taken advantage of. And then when they claim something like this is racially motivated or whatnot, they're called victims, or they're saying, oh, you're just searching for something. Why are the boys lawyering up? Why did the boys have the kid's cell phone? Why did he have Nolan's cell phone and give it to the mother? You know how kids are, and all of us are with our phones. They are glued to our hip. How did the phone make it back, but he didn't? Something is suspect here. This is Mississippi. We've all seen Mississippi burning. We need justice for Nolan. Secret Service Sam Out Sampson for president of the world.
Normally, I try to stay out of Black people's business, but I want you to know that we know that they killed that boy. He was the only Black gentleman in a group of 4 boys in Mississippi, and an altercation broke out just as Nolan was talking to a girl, excited about talking to a girl. How much you want to bet nobody liked that he was in Mississippi talking to a white girl? Now, I'm not going to pretend that I know the racist experience. I'm not going to pretend I know the Black experience, but I know the same thing that I knew when Pamela Horsford died. And that is that a single Black human does not go out or into a group of all white people, come out dead. Nobody knows what fucking happened, and it's not their fault. There is a reason they say, don't play in the snow by yourself. It's cold. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm just want to say that I am terribly, terribly sorry to his family. And I am terribly, terribly sorry about what happened to him. And we all know they fucking did it. And I want you to know that we know they didn't. A grown Black man does not go out with a bunch of white fucking boys in Mississippi, hear that he's talking to a white girl. He disappears. Nobody knows what fucking happened, but now his body's there. No, I'm sorry. Fuck off. We know what happened to that boy.
Yep. So, y'all, they said the investigation is ongoing. And, at the end of the day, this is very cowardly for y'all to single out one Black person, isolate them, and then a group of y'all unalive them and then try to act like nobody seen nothing, nobody heard anything, but you got his cell phone and you returned back with just his cell phone. And you want to take us for a bunch of fools. Wow. Well, I sure hope they get to the bottom of it. And y'all get some Black lawyers. Y'all stop hiring white lawyers, because you see what happened to Carmelo. Get some Black Mississippi lawyers down there. So anyway, y'all, this is truly a tragedy. And I hope we can learn from this. If we can make separations from not buying from Asians, not buying from Target, we can do separations when it comes down to our children. If you see a situation they're in and it don't seem right, it don't look right, or they're just constantly around kids that don't look like them, that is a problem. And you don't see other children that looks like Nolan around, nah, that's a big major red flag. That's a major red flag right there. Andre Williams, thank you so much for the super chat. Peace and blessings, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your contribution to my channel. Eric Tinsley, thank you for the super chat. Shalom, Sister Lisa. We have to stop trusting our enemies. They will never love us. They will never change. Stay away from these raging heathens. Israel for Israel. Thank you so much for your contribution to my channel. I deeply appreciate your support. Mm-hmm. And look at when they did this, y'all. America's 250-year anniversary. That's the same day they unalive this brother. But like I said, the story just don't sound right. And the fact that they went partying, they never cared about him at all. No, you would have said, where's my friend? What happened to him? I need to know. We're not leaving until we find him. That would be a normal reaction. But to go back and just hand off his phone to his mother and then you go proceed to party, that is a problem. So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. Thank you so much for being here. I deeply appreciate it. And be on the lookout for my upcoming lives. And remember, this is the final day of the sale for hair products. You should be able to find all the information in my community tab on YouTube. Shalom, family.